Talked a little bit about this on Tuesday, but coming off a game where you won, having to follow that up, but also doing it while on the road,
Yeah.
which is another situation which has not been good to you. Do you talk to the guys about that, or do you just try to make it as much like another home game or another game as anything else?
Yeah, I didn't want to put a ton of emphasis on us being away from home. We know we're away from home, obviously, and we know that we haven't picked up as many points on the road as what we've probably wanted to this season. But coming off this type of performance, having a really good week of training so far, I have a good feeling about going on the road. I think these guys are well prepared against Chicago. We've done our scout on them, so we've got some good information on how we're going to set ourselves up in the game. Now it's just about going on the road, and there's always pressure on these players when they play at this level. Don't put any added pressure on you of being away from home or any of that. Like, we're going to go out and continue to behave the way we did last week at home, and hopefully it gets us a result.
Have you seen improvements, differences in the play on the road and improvements in that play on the road?
Yeah, I think I've said this a few times now. We've been putting in really good performances. Some of the results have just not gone our way. Now I'm excited to see if we can start to say, hey, we're putting good performances and we pick up some good results along the way. So we know we have two difficult road games coming up, as in Chicago and in Vancouver as well. But I feel prepared for these guys. You know, they've had a good couple of weeks of training now. For me, the Nashville game was not just because of 48 hours before we hit this, fantastic, situation. We've been training like this for a couple of weeks now. So it's starting to become very normal to these guys, what I'm asking for with the intensity and how they be brave and play on the weekends.
With Cedric's status?
Cedric is still a day-to-day right now. So, for us, we feel like he can be potentially back with us pretty soon here. Still don't want to put him in a position where the injury can become extensive and a longer term. But he's definitely more like a day-to-day type player.
Does he practice at all?
He's doing individual work right now, so not with the team. So no training with the team. He's in the gym. He's keeping his cardiovascular up. He's keeping his strength up in the gym. So one of the objectives is that he doesn't lose his sharpness and his fitness while allowing the injury to recover.
And just what's it been like this week with, other than Cedric and Michael Wenzel, everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, if you even have Chris and Conrad available.
Yeah, it's been
this time.
Yeah,
so.
it's been a great environment. I think when you look at now, we've got 26 players training every single day. So we've got good numbers, which equals good competition. That's what we want. So it's been nice to have the problems of how do we set up a game with more than 22 players. So these types of problems we haven't had so far since I've been here. So we're healthy, we're sharp. So it's a really good environment to be in right now.
We'll go on Zoom to Jeremy.
Coach, you talked about, not without giving anything away, Chicago, a team that has a couple of really good goal scorers with more than 10 goals. You faced a team similar to that in Nashville last weekend. What's different in terms of this Chicago team when you look at them compared to what you saw with Nashville?
I think a little bit more of their threat will come from the wider areas. Nashville were very good at playing central and being very good with Hanny and Surridge in the central areas. So we adjusted to those tactics pretty well as a team. We've identified similar situations, but in different personnel in different areas. Nothing I want to give away too much, of course, but definitely identified where their strengths are in the attack, and we've tried to combat it now with a good setup defensively. So we're aware of their danger players, and we just want to remain to understand that they can't have time and space in our final third.
Thanks, Jeremy. You go back to Tom.
Among the guys who are back, how many of them are 90-minute ready? I mean, Kessler, Durkin, can they go 90?
Yeah, I think they're definitely in a position where they could go 90. We definitely have nowadays a lot of information that we have on our hands with GPS trackers, with talking to the players. So we'll never put a player in a position of further, health situations. But we feel like they can come on the field and at least partake for a large part of the game. Yeah, it'll just be adjusting, looking at the numbers, me making the final decision with the eye test on. Again, how sharp they can be for how long, but there's no concerns with any minute restrictions.
Fallou's against Nashville, I think it was his first touch where he chases down a ball and back heels it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you see that, what does that tell you about a guy?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that made me chuckle because it worked out. If it didn't work out, I would have been a little bit more upset probably.
Mm-hmm.
But it just shows a young, brave, confident young man that's come over to the side of the country. He's come into his first game, is at home. He's got a back heel for the first action, so shows a confident young man, which I'm excited for.
Is the adjustment for him gone smoothly?
Yes, I think so, and I would give credit to the locker room for that, and the guys. They've seemed to welcome him in with open arms and brought him in and really embraced him as a person first and foremost. And then as a player, as a left-footed centre back, we know he's going to bring some qualities on the field to us from a playing standpoint as well. So his adjustment so far has been smooth. I'm really happy with what I've seen so far. So now, being such a young lad, we've got a young product on our hand here.
We'll go, Justin.
Coach, kind of similarly, but with Fallou Fall and with Henry Kessler being healthy, having those ball-playing center backs available for you, does that make it a little bit easier to just do what you plan on doing with your formation, how you want your players to play?
Yeah, we've always wanted to be a group that controls the game, and often at times that means your defenders have to also be good attacking players and be brave, be comfortable on the ball, and not just be brave and be comfortable. You have to technically execute the actions that I want to see. I think both of them too and Timo do a fantastic job at that. So as always, having a healthy squad now is going to make my job hard on who I select. But that's what this group needs at this level. We need healthy competition. But definitely starting to be excited about what I'm seeing with the group coming back to full health.
And did it feel like there's momentum coming off that win in Nashville, going into a game that the fan base wants to see people win in Chicago? Like, does it feel like there's that momentum heading into that match?
I think so. You come off a great game. I've been very happy with training this week. They've had a really good training week, the group. We hit some really high numbers with just the intensity and how we've approached ourselves. So that's all been good. And we feel prepared. We've showed the scout on Chicago. We understand some of the spaces that we can hurt them in. So it's been a good week of training. I'm looking forward to the weekend now, see if we can start to put some consistencies together as a group.
Chicago feel like a rival for you guys? Because you only play them once a year, and it's Kansas City seems to be all the focus, but in every other sport, St. Louis and Chicago is the big deal.
Yeah, I think so. Being in different conferences, you only get that matchup, not consistently, but it's probably, this is the landscape of the US, right? This is probably, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe our second or third closest opponent. Mm-hmm. We have some games in our conference that are 4 or 5 hours away on a flight. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely an extra oomph to this game. I think I heard around 250 fans are going to come and follow us to Chicago and support us. So we're really looking forward to their support, and we'll feel that on the field. But yeah, this feels like there's going to be a little bit of spice to this game.
I think it's more of an intimate gathering in SeatGeek rather than at Soldier Field.
I think so. I think so. Just with the stadium set up, yeah.
Yeah, you've done games in SeatGeek, haven't you?
I've been there, yeah. So I've seen it. Yeah.
We got time for one more. If you have it.
No?
No? Coach, thank you. Appreciate it.
Right.
Thank you, everyone.